I was so used to getting up at like 4:45, driving to work, starting around 6. And on a Wednesday morning, once I got up at that time, drove in and realised I didn't have a client till 9. And I was just like, oh, okay. Something needs to change. I was getting ill. I'd had a big burnout probably 2 years prior to that.
This week we're joined by Jake White, owner of Mybody-Fit PT. In this episode, we showcase how Jake went from one-to-one personal training business and transitioned to small group personal training facility owner and has quadrupled his business in the last 4 years.
I didn't feel like I was servicing the team. I had no time to spend any time with them, no time to develop the product for them and support them. I was a control freak and I was like, do everything on the board.
You used to be a bit of a shit boss.
Yeah.
Not only that, he shares how he's got his front end to back end conversion rate to 84% and how his attrition rate is 2% or less.
At home, like I wasn't present because I was tired and it was just like constantly battering yourself. When I'd go on holiday, the first 3 days I just like gone and I was useless. But we had a problem and that was the best solution at the time.
We hope you enjoyed the episode. Jake, welcome to the FMA podcast. I'm really looking forward to this episode. So you've been with us, I think at the end of 2021, you signed up and started rolling at the beginning of 2022. And at that time, the business was doing around 10K a month, was a completely different business model. All of the team were self-employed. Fast forward to now in 2026, the business is consistently doing between 35 to 40K months. You've got a full team of 6 in place, I believe. The model's being completely changed, the service, the business is being expanded. You're going to expand again. And essentially the business looks completely different to how it did at the start. So I'm really looking forward to running through this entire journey of where you were and how you've made those changes from the service, the sales, marketing, delivery, all of that fun stuff. But before we start, if you can give us a bit of a rundown of the name of the business, the current model, the current price point to set the context, that'd be great.
Name business Mybody-Fit. We're based in Solihull and we're a small group training model. So 1 to 6 small group training. We have a large group training offering as well. And I've forgotten the last question.
So the last bit was the kind of price point of the membership.
Okay, so you're looking at around 239 to 249 sort of average.
Nice. How many members are you currently on?
Around 210.
Amazing. But when you first came to us, it wasn't like that at all, right? So run me through what the model was beforehand and how the business operated.
It was one-to-one training. It was the team was self-employed. We were about to move into our gym, I'm pretty sure. So we were about to move into our studio at the time. And yeah, that was pretty much, and we had like a large group boot camp, which was kind of just like an offering for clients to sort of do a bit more cardio and give them, and also that community feel, I suppose.
And when was it, because you started to market that business initially with us, when was it where you kind of went, right, I think we need to make a change essentially to the business?
I'd been thinking about it when we moved into the gym. I realised that if I went to small group training, that was going to have an impact on the amount of staff I needed, etc. I was really happy with my staff. I had a good team. They'd been with me a while. So that was a real stopping point for me that I think I'd known for a while, but then it got to the stage where I was delivering a lot of one-to-one myself. And like most weeks I would have to farm out a couple of clients to the team, like maybe like 3 or 4 clients, because I just couldn't deliver the amount of sessions. So it was something that needs to change. I was getting ill, things like that. I'd had a big burnout probably 2 years prior to that, just before lockdown, and so something needed to change. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to navigate it. I didn't know how it would. There needed to be a win for everyone. There needed to be a win for me, the team, and the members. And I couldn't see. I just felt like it was a win for me, and it was selfish.
Yeah, and it's like getting to capacity for one-to-one didn't get a win for you in terms of life or business because you were so busy on the floor.
Yeah, like 100%. Like the money was good, and I had a great client base that I loved, and that was a challenge because I had such great clients, and but I didn't feel like I was servicing the team. I had no time to spend any time with them. I had no time to develop the product for them and support them. And no time for real, like I could say hello to the members that were having one-to-one with the rest of my team. But like I didn't have like relationships with them like I had with my clients or how we have now.
Yeah, because you're so in the trenches, just working on the floor. You have no time to really develop the business and in any area, really.
I was so used to getting up at like 4:45, driving to work, starting around 6. And on a Wednesday morning, once I got up at that time, drove in and realised I didn't have a client till 9. And I was just like, oh, okay. I have a workout then. But I was so in that, like, that's just how it went. And a lot of elements, I loved it. I loved work. Like, it wasn't that. It was just the impact it was having on, I think, me at home. Like, I wasn't present because I was tired, and like probably my training as well. It was just like constantly battering yourself. And then when I'd go on holiday, the first 3 days I just like gone, and I was useless.
So what are the, because I think you did the transition quite quickly.
Yeah.
And when you decided, you went pretty fast in terms of the changes to the model, and you were also making other changes to the business, right? So can you run me through that process?
Yeah. So we changed 3 things. We employed the team.
And let's talk about that, because there's many people that I speak to that have self-employed trainers.
Okay.
And when you say to them, or when they hear the advice of you should employ the trainers, there's skepticism. It might be because they are they like the flexibility of not having to have a full-time staff member, not having to pay for holiday and cover and all of that sort of stuff. They also might think that the coaches actually prefer that as well. So did you have any skepticism about going full-time with the team, full-time employment?
Yeah, I thought I was, and I got called on this, but I thought I was giving them a better service than being self-employed. I thought that's what they wanted. I thought it was low risk for me. You hear loads of people with small businesses, oh, having staff's a nightmare, or they're not committed, or they're not this, or whatever. And so yeah, it was a big barrier. So it was the one I decided to tackle first.
And that's quite, because how many people did you move to full-time employee?
We had 6 trainers at the time. We moved over because we were changing the model. We took 4.
Yeah,
we went with 4.
And I think at that time of the transition, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't actually necessarily need 4 people, right? You could have run the ship on a much leaner operation, essentially.
Yeah, we need 2.
Yeah,
and me.
Yeah,
but I found that really, really hard. I think at the time, at one point I was like, let's just keep all 6, we'll make it work. And I think, there's a massive argument for, the data doesn't lie, but also I think you've got to go with your gut at the same time. And I felt the other 2 brilliant as well. One, it was just the wrong time of life for probably them and me. But the 4 we went with, I just knew they were the right people. And although it was I had a bit of savings and money at the time, and I was like, well, I knew we weren't going to profit for a bit, but I couldn't imagine doing it without them at the time. And
so you could have become profitable much faster if you obviously just had you and 2 other people, but you decided to have those 4. And I guess, were you future pacing where the business was going to be with those team members rather than where it was at that time? I
think a bit of, I'm a big believer of being around the people that are going to lift you up, and they are. So, and I thought, if we're going to be successful, then, if you looked a year down the line, who do you want on your team sheet? Like 100%. So I think I remember working back and thinking, right, if we grow at this percentage, and I'm not very good with things like compound interest and stuff like that, but one of my friends is really good. So he was like, well, if we do this, blah, 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 that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And so we thought, how many leads do we need? What do we sell? What's the retention need to be like? And then we went at it. And to be fair, we really went at it. Like, we changed a lot. And they, as I knew they would, they all really stepped up.
And so it sounds like you really backed yourself in terms of bringing on those 4 people, knowing that you're not going to be profitable for a bit, but having a goal to get profitable as fast as possible. So you took a big risk basically in terms of having those team members on. What would you say your approach to risk taking is as a business owner? Because it sounds like in that situation you backed yourself and it completely paid off.
I jump in and then I panic. I think I jumped in. So yeah, be fine. I'm notoriously very positive, and always see the best in things. And then about a month later, I'm like, oh God, we could be a problem here. So I think it was more, I jumped in because I felt like that was the right thing to do.
And is that, you said you're naturally quite positive. Is that something that you've worked on or just always been? Because I think being solution orientated and being able to see the positive of a situation as a business owner is a huge advantage, right? To be able to see a solution rather than a problem because you're inevitably going to face a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So is that something you've worked on or just naturally had?
I think you get better at it. I think I in general, I've always been quite positive. My older sister's always said, like, I remember in France years ago, we were on holiday together, and she was like, "Is he always like this?" Like, she's a bit older than me. We didn't grow up together, and I think I've always been quite positive. But I think you get better at. So usually, when a problem comes in, it often highlights something where you can improve.
Yeah.
And so I think I look at them a lot differently these days. I panic a lot less, which is good, and break it down. And then, and that's probably where I'm strongest. Like, we all have our bits in the team, and that's probably where I'm the strongest. And what I do for them is probably problem solve or support them to problem solve better.
And you said you panic less, so go back into the business is the business is 10 years old now.
Yes, last week.
I think from last week, which is incredible.
Yeah.
How much of that do you think you've not been panicking at certain situations? And again, is that a skill developed or just something through experience and battle scars that?
Yeah, I think probably about. So I'm relatively laid back, I would say, but I think through previous experiences, even like things like sport, like playing rugby, I was always in decision making, like play fly, and I think I've always been quite good at that. I quite enjoy it. I quite look at it, and so I think it's probably experience. 42 now, 43 in a month and a half, and starting to been in the industry a long time, and you see things, don't you, and you make your opinions, and then you go from there.
And going back to employing those the 4 team members as full-time employees, what are the kind of the pros of doing that versus self-employed? Because I think before people actually hire full-time, they only see the downside to it in terms of, let's say, short-term financials. Maybe you've got to pay them more, all that sort of stuff. But what are the benefits of having, like, how much impact has it had on the business by having them full-time versus self-employed individuals?
I would never take on a self-employed trainer, like, ever again. No, not unless I think I'd have to never say never, I suppose. But the benefits have been just so much better than I thought. I think the biggest one is that you're trusting in them and they're trusting in you. Like, so previously there was kind of no skin in the game for me, really, and I'd never really thought about it like that. But it's it's almost like, how to describe it? You're more of a team, and we were always really good as a team before. Like, we'd team train twice a week together. We'd always have a team meeting. Like, I never struggled with commitment from the people I had. Like, no, and a lot of people go, "Oh, it makes them more committed." They were really committed before. But I think the realization that they don't need to worry about how many hours they're doing or how many sales they need to make, or like bar one in my team, none of them have to do any selling anymore, which is often a big contention for people in the fitness industry, isn't it? They find it challenging.
And it sounds like because they have certainty that they're going to get paid every month, they don't have to worry about those factors, and they can focus on the things that you want them to focus on, which is going to be delivering a great service to the customers. Yeah, exactly. And also because obviously they have hours on top of their coaching hours, they have skills that I didn't know they had. They talk about bringing people in that are better than you, and we were talking about on the way down, myself and Lewis, and we've upskilled them now with the help of other people, etc. That
in their roles, they are way better than me. And it shows in the way that the business is growing.
And something you said to me before recording, and excuse my French for anyone listening, but you said that you used to be a bit of a shit boss.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to know like what you were like beforehand and what you've changed and how you've now become better in that role.
I think it was having more time and then focusing that time into being better at that. So, when you're coaching like one-to-one hours of like 35, 40 hours a week, and you're training, you're doing like all the finance side or whatever, and you don't have time to, or you don't prioritize it, or I didn't. Some people might, and where now I prioritize, my job is to make, like, everyone calls it MBF, so make MBF like the best place to work. And if I can do that, my team will look after the members so well because they're so happy in where they are, and they feel supported and they're paid well, and all the things that go with that. That our business, like, it will be hard not to grow.
So the antidote was actually freeing yourself up.
Yeah.
And this might sound like a really random analogy, but if you like to make it quite logical, like if you were trying to develop another skill and didn't have time, like let's say you were trying to learn the guitar, but you were just so busy doing stuff, you wouldn't be able to get good at that either. Yeah. So it's like you free yourself up, you can then apply more time to the skill, which is leadership and being a better manager. And because of that, you can now deliver because you've just put more time and energy into that. So for me, the question kind of, and you may have covered it, but it's like, how did you free yourself up? So you went from working all the hours, you're up at 5 o'clock, you're unable to switch off from holiday, maybe not present at home because you're so tired. And I know obviously the model is probably what freed you up, but was there anything else? How did you initially free yourself up? Like what in the transition period, I guess?
Initially, I didn't free myself up. I just started to prioritize it. So we put some things in place to ensure that the team having one-to-ones, and they were ad hoc before now. Like, so this year, it's like they know the times every week. And I think it was going away on a holiday and listening to some books and podcasts, etc., and going, I need to improve at that. And one of the biggest issues, you listen to a lot of gym owners, and they were like, oh, well, I wanted to get out of the product. I didn't want to get out of the product. Like, I liked it, but I had like this perfect thing in my head where I could go, like, we went away 10 times last year.
Wow.
Yeah, like 10 times. And that was like cycling trips. We went to South Africa, we went like Spain, we did all these things. I wanted a business where I could look after the team. The members absolutely loved it, and they felt comfortable every time they walked in, and they were happy and they were getting results. And I wanted to be able to go away, everything run, and then come back and still be able to coach, still be able to manage the team. Like I said to you earlier, like a good, I think I've got my laptop out once this week so far. Like I sit on a Friday.
And it's a Thursday, by the way.
I wanted to work in the areas that I felt like I excelled, and that was, I felt like I could excel coaching the team. I just needed to put more time into it. I felt like I was doing a good job of coaching on the gym floor, and I felt like I needed to spend like more time seeing the members, but not necessarily delivering the product. And if I could sort of nail those three, we'd be really successful. And then I had to build like my power team around anything else.
And because the things that you said before is obviously you've empowered the other team members to do the things that you're not good at. I think the fact that you've only opened your laptop once is testament to that, in terms of, I imagine there's other team members that are doing all of the tasks necessary on a laptop. So Lewis does the marketing side of things. So he's kind of speaking with FMA and getting the marketing ready and all that sort of stuff.
He does all the calls with you, like all the chat, the emails, things like that, and then he'll brief me effectively. And
then you got another team member that does a lot of the, I think it's spreadsheet.
We've got Lewis does, he's head coach and he does all the marketing. So he's like product marketing. We've got Kim, who looks after all the member experience. So like our 6-week program, she'll mentor them through that. She'll actually do the resale of that as well, and looks after that stuff, data, etc. Then we've got Sai, who supports me in sales, and she also loves like the spreadsheets we were talking about earlier, and she great at all that stuff. We've got Sarah, who runs our run club and full-time coach. She's been in with us the longest. And then we've got Dan, who has just started about 4 or 5 months ago.
And it's interesting what you said about finding the team members where their strengths lie within the team, because I think you said Lewis used to do the sales and you didn't do the sales, but you've actually swapped roles, and that's actually improved things.
Yes, it's actually, I think the biggest improvements is both of our happiness. I'm useless at anything marketing. I never post on my own Facebook or Instagram. And it just wasn't my strength. And Lewis we were doing sales via the phone, the one call close. And it was, so it was Lewis and Si doing that. And he wasn't happy in doing that. And he's got a great attitude and he just threw himself into it and he improved massively. And then after a conversation actually with you guys, we flipped it up completely, and it is what a treat. And
so let's I'm going to put a quick pin in the sales bit, but I do really want to go back to this, because this is I really like what you've done in terms of the new sales process you have in place, which we will get to a little bit later. But just to circle back to so we spoke about you didn't have time to be a good leader, basically, because you're doing so much. Yeah. But it wasn't that you freed yourself up. It's just that you decided to prioritize the leadership as a role. And you mentioned that you put certain non-negotiables in throughout the week.
Yeah. So like a team meeting every Friday. So every Friday we have a team meeting. We have lunch after it together. So, and it's like it's an hour and a half.
It's an hour and a half meeting.
Hour and a half meeting, and then we have lunch. And so we have that call time together where we, anything we need ironing out, anything we need to work on, whatever it may be, we spend time on that. And I think making sure that I'm well planned and spend time focusing on, that is, prior to that, I will always look at the data, and I do get on my laptop, just so you know. I look at like where's the gaps, where's the holes at the moment, what do we need to work on, and then we focus something around that, whether it's a training or it's a conversation or it's whatever we need to be doing. We have CPD every Wednesday, which is led by Lewis, and that will be all about product. So what areas, where do we need to improve? Like what are the common denominators we're seeing through the week, where we, what's a new program, all that sort of stuff. And then Monday and Wednesday as well, we train together as a team, which for me, that's been there. Team training's been there for like 9 years, I think. And it's like a pillar a little bit for us, because, we're all doing different things now. Like, like Sarah's a fantastic runner, and she's qualified for like Chicago this year.
Wow.
We've got like, Kim got to the athletics final, athletics high rocks. Like Lewis is ridiculously fit. It makes me feel bad. I'm trying for an Ironman. Like Dan's just trying to beat me at everything. And so so we're often doing different things training wise. So it's good to just hit up twice a week.
So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the team is always together 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So that will just strengthen a team so much, right? If they can just actually spend that time communicating, working out, training, working together to become, have better chemistry and actually work as a team, rather than just everyone doing their individual things throughout the week and not connecting together.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, and then there's one-to-ones on top of that as well, which are like, they're 30 minutes, they're about them. And I think it's just a little bit of a check-in. What do you need support on? What's your focus this week?
And you mentioned that obviously you put those meetings in place, but you also said you listened or read some good stuff. Where else did you learn about becoming a better leader, essentially?
I think initially it was I read Gym Launch, Alex Hormozy's book, then met Ollie at your event in Dublin, and spent much more time with like Jens and going on the calls with you guys as well. And it was like, everyone's telling me like it's an area that you need to focus on. And I think one of the things I thought was I had the natural ability to do that. I liked doing that. I've often like I'd coached rugby before, I'd like been captain, things like that. I was good at that stuff. And then it was like, well, actually it's like anything. If you're not getting your reps and you're not preparing, actually you're doing a bit of a disservice to the team that you're going into a meeting. And I was going into some meetings where I hadn't prepared for it. I was just like, oh, we'll talk about this. And I had no data behind it or anything like that. And I realized it was probably like, if they'd have turned up to a meeting with me like that, I would have been probably a bit frustrated. So it was not fair to do the same.
Yeah. And so the first thing that you did was taking the self-employed staff to full-time and nurturing the team more than you were before. And that was thing number one. I think you said there was 3 main things that you did. What were the other 2 things?
So in that time, we were doubling the size of the gym. So our landlord had kindly given us next door as well. Well, not giving us, but you know what I mean. So we knocked through the wall and we doubled the size of the gym, which was super exciting. And in that same week, we also changed after 7 years of doing one-to-one to 7.5 to small group.
And did you said you're 1-6, did you start 1-6, start 1-4?
No, we started 1-4 actually. Yeah, we started 1-4. At the time, I think the goal was kind of always to get to 1-6, but I felt at the time we'd been 1-1 for 7.5 years, and to jump to 6, I didn't think we were ready from a product standpoint. We weren't. We definitely weren't. And I also think the members, we wouldn't have had the uptake that we had going to small group. I think at 1-6 as we did to 1-4, because we delivered the product better at 1-4 initially.
And if you were to go back to when you very first went to small group and look at the products and the on-delivery products, obviously at the very start, and you were to compare it to now, how would you rate the initial kind of small group training that you had back then?
Not great, and actually a big, probably because of my fault.
And what things were either happening or not happening that would give you the conclusion that it wasn't great?
I was a control freak, and I was like, do everything on the board. And so...
Or that's to the clients or to the coaches?
To the coaches.
So basically you have to prescribe what I've put on the board. Yeah.
It was very much like that.
A lot of people still do that, I would probably say, in terms of some gyms. They probably say, right, that's what we're doing and that's what you must.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. And do you know what? It might fit for them. But we were good at 1-to-1.
Why do you see that as a thing that is detrimental to the service in terms of making sure that they deliver what's on the board? Versus, because obviously there was a time where you thought it was important to do that, but now you've come to change your mind about that by the sounds of it.
Yeah, 100%. We had a really good coaching team who, in their individual businesses as self-employed trainers, had good retention, which always suggests that their product's good. So I suddenly said, we're going to deliver this, and I was really quite strict on how we were doing it. And I think it took away the sort of coaching license, what they were great at. They knew, we've worked with next door, a physio company for years and years, as a good partnership, and they knew how to work around injuries. They knew how to progress people. They knew who they had in front of them, probably better than me in a lot of them. And I think I was so keen to get this structure of this small group, and that actually I dropped the ball in the sense that I didn't give them the ability to coach, where now we've got a guideline on the board, but they will coach the people that they know in front of them.
And so kind of tell me, for some people that are listening that are kind of interested, that this kind of interested them, or what is the difference between do what's on the board and a guideline for them to coach? What would you say is the fundamental difference there?
I was taking away the coach's thinking, and we had... at the time 4 very good trainers that knew who was in front of them, knew what they liked, what they didn't like, what they were working towards, what injuries they had, what niggles they had, what their job was, what their stresses on life and things like that. And I'm like, do that. And it was a one-size-fits-all model, of which we've still got, even though we're 1-6, we've still got Mybody-Fit Personal Training, because one thing I think we massively excel at is the personal. I think the reason, I had a consultation yesterday. The lady turned to me and she said, if I hadn't have been here once for physio, after reading your reviews, I would have thought it was a scam. They were so good. And I was like, okay, maybe we need to look at that, put a bad one in or something. And I was like, it's a massive compliment. But that's because we're so good at the personal. And I was taking that away from the team and I'm making them smaller, not letting them grow.
Yeah.
So now I don't write the program anymore. But Lewis writes the program. But the CPD is all about how we improve as coaches, how we keep that personal in it. And that's really important to all of us, I'd say.
So it sounds like the coaches have more autonomy to coach the person on the floor rather than like this. Again, this might be an odd analogy, but before it was like, here's a recipe, cook this dish. Whereas now you're like, here's these ingredients, cook something. Just make sure, as long as it tastes good to the person.
Yeah, exactly. I think like the member, it's all about the member experience. And, you know, so they often will know better. But as long as I think from that perspective, if I see something or often I'll be like, oh, why are we doing that? And they'll have a justification. Like they're not doing it because they just fancy like doing that. They've got a reason behind it. And I think then that's my job to go, is it the right reason? Is it the wrong one? Why are we making that decision if it's the wrong one? And how do we think about it differently next time? But rarely is it the wrong one.
And there's people that might do, let's say, a form of small group training, but they're all following the exact same workout. So really it's more like a circuit type workout just in a small group. Whereas like what you're doing is it's true personal training for every individual, because some people might be doing one exercise, someone might be doing something else to work around an injury, or they've already trained in the week. So it's actually making the experience molded around the individual and giving them a unique experience rather than the same experience.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, and that shows in the product. Like we'll have, you know, people knocking like close to an hour at High Rocks to your granddad, and we're able to coach them in a 1 to 6 environment to a very, very high level. And I think the importance behind that is that if I was constantly going, I'll do this, then we never would have had that. We wouldn't have been able to, the coaches wouldn't have developed. And now they walk in, like now I've got friends of mine that are members of the gym. I've got people that have joined recently that I'm like, oh my word, I know that person like that. And I'm like, they're in my gym. And I'd also, my parents, I would put my parents into the gym. So if you look at it like that, it kind of has a scale of, are we getting this right? Or no one's getting everything right. I'm not saying I've got all the answers, but I think we're definitely on the right tracks and pretty proud of how it's going.
And what was it that gave you confidence to go from 4 to 6? So obviously you started off with 4 because you knew the product needs to be developed. But there must have been a point where you go, I think we can move to 6 now because we're doing stuff in a better way. So what was it that gave you that feeling, or what was the data what was the signal that you received that made that decision?
We had too many people. Pretty much. It was getting to the stage where sessions, I think one of the things we had looked at when we were doing one-to-one, like, so for example, if one of my one-to-one clients wanted to change their session, I'd find it in that week, I find it really hard to fit them in. So one of the ways that when I move people over, I was like, I'll be really flexible. There's loads of sessions. It'll be sweet. And then suddenly, like, sessions are getting waiting lists and things like that. And I was like, I've kind of, so we need to do something about this. So I tried a couple of them, and then we just we were like, do you know what? And I asked a couple of members that I trusted, and they said we preferred the 1-to-4, but I didn't notice that much different. And I was like, cool.
So that was the feedback. It was, I preferred the 1-to-4, but I didn't really notice it. So what was because there might be some people that are at 1-to-4 and want to go up, or kind of increase capacity. So the signal that it was moving is that you've got such demand that you can't fit other people in sessions, but also you're holding on to those members as well. So it's like, how do we kind of expand and maintain results? So that's that section. But then with the actual kind of communication of moving from 1 to 6, was it, so you initially asked some members, a few members, what their opinion was, and then did you do an announcement? What was the steps of doing that?
I think you can make something bigger than it is, and a lot of people, myself included, like procrastinate over things and what happens, or you could just go 1, 2, 3, go, and let's see what happens. And like we made a decision this week. It was a really basic one, but in the product of a change, and we were like, when are we going to change? And this was yesterday, and team went, should we just try it tonight? And I was like, awesome. Like I had been saying that we need to move faster on things, and we'd often go, it'd be Monday, and we're like, we'll talk about the team meeting. Team meeting's not until Friday. Let's get it done now. And they were like, let's do it at 5:00. See what happens. Like, what's the worst that happens? We'll change it back. And so I think we get a very precious around things, and we make them bigger. And I think we just had to shoot, and worst case scenario, we change it back. But we had a problem, and that was the best solution at the time. And when the members said, "Oh, it's at 6," we communicated somehow. I can't quite remember how. I think it was a message on the WhatsApp groups going, "This is why we're doing it." And and it was like, we have a capacity problem. We want to make sure we can train you all. So we are going to do this in there. I think we initially did it in the busier times.
Oh, so you opened it up for certain times and then staggered it out. And I actually really agree with that. You can make something bigger than it actually is, in terms of if you make too much of a song and dance about something, it becomes this big thing. Yeah. I really, really agree with that. And I think that to communicate that it's in the benefit of the members, that, hey, some people aren't able to book into the times they want. This is what we're going to do, meaning that you can book in for more times that you want to train in. So no one can really argue with basically having more flexibility.
We didn't get any, that's a lie. We had a couple of people that were slightly uncomfortable with it. Once I'd had the conversation, or all the team members, actually 2 of the conversations, it was like 4 or 5. I think I spoke to 3. One of my team members spoke to 2. And it was like, this is why we've done it. And they kind of went, oh yeah, I get it. It's not perfect. Like, how many times have you bought something that's way more expensive than what you wanted to pay, but you still bought it? And they still wanted to do the thing. It wasn't like quite the price they wanted, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but minimal kickback. Yeah,
there was minimal kickback. There's like, it's the famous one, isn't it? The price increase. Everyone's terrified of the price increase, myself included. But again, there was minimal kickback.
And have you done a price increase recently?
Yeah, we did one about 8 months ago. And look, it was just like I communicated, like, this is why we're doing it. And I think the full transparency, just be honest, like, this is why we're doing it. And you may lose a few, but we didn't actually. But we might on the next one. And I think the hard thing is, we're not doing it to rinse them. We're doing it because we need to grow the business, and it's expensive to do so. But
it's even that you just said, like, we might on the next one, like, at some point you're going to have to do one, rather than hiding away from the fact that, oh, we're going to have to do this big price increase. Like, it's just part of this has to happen for you to be a sustainable business.
Yeah, 100%. I think if you're spending the time that we are spending to grow, my team, what my team's salaries are now, if I'm sat here in 12 months and they're the same, then I'm not doing a good enough job. And if the product's not better for the members, then I'm not doing a good enough job. And so it's like everything is progression, and a price increase is the same. It's progression. Whilst we get better and better and better, like, we're about to put a big investment into going again on a 3rd unit, and unfortunately, it's something we'll have to do. We will think about it. We'll do it in the right way, and we'll do it with full transparency.
Again, you mentioned when you increased the slots, it was just like a WhatsApp. But with the price increase, how did you communicate that?
It was via email.
Yeah,
we put that out via email. I spoke to. We're very lucky. We've got some members that have been with us for a very, very, very long time.
And so, do you speak to the OG members initially? Yeah.
Because it's important to see it from their side. Explain why we're doing what we're doing, whatever it may be, whether it's a price increase, whether it's change of model, whether it's running an event, etc. So I'm very, very lucky that I've got a number of members that have been with us like close to 10 years, if not 10 years, that will give me a really honest answer and be like, just one of them, she lovingly said, just be yourself, be honest, be yourself. And it was when we were hitting VAT. And it was like, wow, we're losing 20% of our money. This is bad. And you just got to be honest with it, and also meet in the middle. I would say, like, it can't be all about you. In my view, some people might think differently, but it can't all be about you. It needs to be the wins, like we said before. Like, is it a win for the clients? Is it a win for us? Is it a win for the team?
And so, for example, like, you're expanding into this kind of, it's the same actual space, but like for the third time, you're expanding the gym into an extra room. So in the future, when that does happen, they'll have an updated space with updated equipment, and obviously the team will have developed there as well. So they will be having a better service and product. Yeah,
and I think the way that we've done the numbers, we probably won't have to increase. We will at some point, but with the way that at the moment.
And what's the retention of the clients at the moment?
Really good. Around 2%.
Amazing. And that's for over 200 people to 2%.
Yeah.
Was it always 2%, or was it higher in the past? Or
we seem to have every 3 months really good, and then we have a big drop off. Well, I say a big drop, not a massive drop off, but we'll have like 2 months of nothing, or maybe 3. And then, we obviously haven't spent enough time on product or members, and we have a bit of a drop off. And to be fair, we went through at the end of the year, we were doing like a review. We had like a big review and like plans for next year. And we went through who went last year and what we could have done better. And some of them, were like, I'm moving here. And so actually the percentage that we could do much about was pretty low. And I was really proud of the team for that and what we put in place and how we'd kept the personal in it. Like, that's important.
And what would you say are the key factors to having the attrition so low that you've implemented into the product?
Oh, massively. I think community. We've got, and I think a lot of gyms have, but we've got an absolutely amazing community. Like, they like all our whenever we run something, whenever it is, whether it's a Christmas party, whether it's the MBF games or like a nutrition night or whatever it is, like, it's always massively attended. Like, some of the outfits that turned up to the Christmas boot camp this year was absolutely amazing, and everyone was outside of Wine Bar down the road, like, we took over the whole thing. Like, so I think the community is infectious, and a number of members have said that. It reads, and if you go onto our Google reviews, like, that reads a lot, that like the people in the building are great. It was rubbish weather last night and 20 people plus, I think, turned up to our run club. Like, and it shows that there's just those friendships around there. I think that's number one. And I think number two is getting results. Like, it sounds stupid and obvious, but dial into whatever their goal is.
Do you actually deliver the thing that they come for?
Yeah. Put systems in place. Have you ever read Atomic Habits?
Yes.
Absolutely love that book. Like, right, so how do we create habits for them that they will struggle not to be successful? So I think we look around, what are the habits? They have like check-ins with their trainer. So every client has a PT that looks after them, and they will have their one-to-one every quarter or whatever it may be, sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on their work diary. They will speak to that trainer regularly, usually through comms or in the sessions, etc. And it's just making sure we're keeping it personal and we're working towards it with them. Like, and it's a partnership, isn't it? We'll bring our best. You've got to bring yours.
And you mentioned community being a factor that plays into retention. In the book Atomic Habits, I believe it says that the best way to get someone to continue a healthy habit is have them ingrained into a community of people that all follow the same habit, essentially. So having a coach-led gym is like the perfect way to keep someone ingrained into a habit. So it actually entwines quite nicely there.
100%. Our community it's just gone nuts. I don't know how to...
How have you done that? Because a lot of people say community, and some people might be thinking, but how do I build that? Is it something you build and constantly work on? Is it something organic? Like, how would you say yours has been built?
A bit of both. I think we've always had in our large group training like a nice environment, nice people. Like, my team are really nice, attract like it attracts like, doesn't it? It's like, and I think so we've always had nice people in the building, which is really helpful. And then I think, yeah, we've worked on it. Like, so this year we have some sort of event every 4 weeks. Like, we're doing something
So every month there's a community event.
There's something.
Yeah.
I think
is it planned out
Yeah, we've done 12 months. Like, so you know how you guys do the like marketing plan?
Yeah.
Like, so me and Lewis went through that, and then we were like, why don't we do this for our events? That would make sense, wouldn't it? And so we did the same, and so we've got different events. On some events there's multiple. So we've probably got about 14 events next year, and they're not always like massive ones. Like,
it could be like a walk, one of them, right?
Yeah, like last year we did like the Cotswolds Way walk for charity. We did that, and we did loads of things like Sand to Shred, and we got them all in. We did a talk around that, and then we're building on that. We're doing like a Move Every Day challenge at the moment with Men's Day, Women's Day, MBF. We did like an erg fest, Christmas party, Christmas boot camp, like all these things that bring us together as a business. Like, we had, I think it was over 70 odd, maybe 80 odd people at our Christmas party.
And I think that's so important to do, because you should be marketing to your members, even if they're your customers, right? In terms of showing them what's coming up throughout the year. So having a calendar saying, hey, here's what's happening in this month, and they can literally see that in 9 months' time, the summer social is going to take place, and we're having a barbecue. I can put the date in my calendar so I can block it out. So they've got these things to look forward to in the future. So you're planting like the cookie crumbs later on down the line. And it also potentially creates a little bit of FOMO, because if someone thinks about leaving, they're like, oh, then I can't take part in the community events. I'm going to miss the community. So it really creates sticky clients when they have these things outside of the gym to look forward to. So I think that's really, really good.
They do stuff together now, and we have like a big Saturday boot camp. So on Saturdays we don't have 8 a.m. We have no small group on. We have like a big like Saturday 7 style, and it's so much fun. It's really well attended, and often they'll go off and get coffee afterwards, or like some of them will walk out, whatever, or go for a run or whatever it may be. And I think that community element is makes it a really fun place to work. Makes the atmosphere great. I think it also massively breaks down barriers for people who don't necessarily have friends that are into fitness, but they're trying to better themselves. And like, not everyone's into fitness, and that a lot of our client base when they first start aren't, but they suddenly got friends and like-minded people, so they don't have to drag their other mates if they don't want to go. It's like they've got friends within the gym, and they're like, if they want to go for a run or whatever it may be, we've got like WhatsApp groups for our food. So we've got like a food group, and like people put like recipes up and things like this. And honestly, whenever I join someone now, I'm like, mute it. It will go off all day. But like someone who's, say, new to cooking, they don't really know what they're doing, like, just ask some of the recipes and they put some up. And I'm not the best, but I'm like, oh, even I could do that. Or someone's new to running and they'll post up and go, I'm really new, I want to get my second running because we set them homework and we've got a run club, and will anyone run with me? And often a member who is a good runner will go with that new person. Or someone who's just going, we've got like a walk club that goes out on the run club on Wednesdays. And so I think that community, maybe a little bit by accident from us.
There's a lot of things in place you've put to let the community kind of grow, and like, so obviously it's organic, but you've set up these events for people to be able to connect. Yeah,
and they're fun. Like, it's nice to, from my perspective, as the membership's got bigger, and I'm less on the gym floor, it's an opportunity for me to talk to everyone, and I really like that. Like, I at one point, and I know we're going to go into sales in a bit, but I had a bit of a disconnect there were members where I didn't really know who they were, and I hated that. I absolutely hated it. I was like, that for me is not what I wanted as a business owner. So those opportunities, I get to have the opportunity to get to know people that I don't know as well. So that's really nice. And often they tell me how good a job the team are doing. So that's nice to hear as well.
Yeah, that is really nice. And so let's before we talk about sales, actually, your kind of front end offer. So is it a 6-week program that you do?
That's right.
Yeah. And how much is the front end offer?
$397.
Nice. And do you know what the front end to kind of back end conversion rate is of that?
84%.
Wow. Amazing. So, and again,
That was over last year.
So kind of a date, but really, really impressive over the period of a year to have 84%.
Yeah, it is really good.
What,
that's not me that's done, that's one of my teams.
Yeah. Kind of same question about the retention. What have you put in place to make sure that you have such a high percentage of people converting? Because life is what people don't realize is that when you're converting your front end to back ends at a really high percentage, marketing and sales become easier because you don't have to bring nearly as many people in to get long-term customers. Like you make your life easier by servicing those people on the front end.
So they have an initial sit down. So once they've signed up through me, then they get all the automation through the closer, sending like everything they need to know, link it to the WhatsApp groups, all that sort of stuff. Welcome. And then they have some contact from one of my team, Kim, who gets them in. She will sit down 45 to 60 minutes and give them like a proper induction. It's all about them. Like, what do they want to achieve in the next 6 weeks? What do we need to support them on? Where have the barriers been in the past that they haven't got there? And it's a real deep dive into how we can help them best, whatever their goal is. And then they will have a check-in like each week, like just via WhatsApp, and then obviously they see the team, etc. in the sessions. But it's a sort of a deep dive into how we can service them better in the next 6 weeks to ensure that they've moved the pin like so far compared to what we talked about earlier, like sharpening a knife for 7 years and then 3 years. Like I think moving that pin as much as we can in the 6 weeks. And supporting them. And I kind of say when they first start is we're going to teach you how to train, we're going to teach you how to eat. You'll know exactly what to do at the end of the 6 weeks and you won't need us, but hopefully you'll want to stay for the community.
And I really love what you've just said there, because I was speaking to someone the other day and they say, once they finish 6 weeks, they feel like they're done. And I said to them, it's because how you're selling them at the start and the expectations you're setting. So you're saying that once you get here, you're done and you're good, and that's how you're selling them in. Whereas if you sell them in and intro them and set the expectation as you're going to be set up to be able to continue, whether that's on your own or with us, then do you feel like you're setting the runway for a long-term relationship at the start?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the reason that we changed how we were doing the initial setup. Like we were the way we were selling. And then the way that we were getting them in a group. And I know it's a group product and I get that. We're getting them in a group induction and then cracking on. Since we've moved to this, our percentage has gone.
So moving to a one-to-one induction rather than a group induction.
One-to-one induction, because I think in a one-to-one environment, someone will always be a bit more vulnerable. And that means that we're really going to deep dive into actually what they really want. Not, I want to lose a little bit of weight, or I want to do this, or do it. Why do they want to do it, and how do we really get into that? Because if we can really delve into that and then support them and give them the confidence and the ability to go off and do the work, then that's a dangerous combination. They've got someone who really understands them, and then that will be delivered back to the team. So every single person that starts with us, the team get the information, unless it's something that they don't want shared. We'll get the information so that the 6 of us know that person's in our session. That's what they're working towards. We're going to see them soon. And let's go.
And someone who's in a group induction may not open up quite as much about what they want to achieve.
That's what we're finding.
And there's less of a connection because they're in that group scenario. So a lot of touch points along that 6 weeks, and you also have that one-to-one time with them as well, which has made a huge difference from group. So let's kind of move into the sales. So you used to do just a one call close, so sign them up for £300 or whatever it is over the phone. Yeah. But you've now changed it to a consultation process, but there's a caveat with that process. So tell me what it is you do, because I think this is super interesting, because most of our clients do one call close, but some people do a consultation, but I think you are doing the best way to do a consultation.
Yeah. What I would say was the one call close was working. So it was a hard decision to make because it was working. But the biggest reason we did it was the change of roles in the business. And I felt the disconnect of the members in the business. So I wanted to meet everyone. And the best way I could think to do that we're a small gym, like 210 members. Like if we reach complete capacity, it'll be at 350. I believe I can know all of them personally. So we moved it because initially I wanted to meet everyone. And that wasn't like a controlling thing. I just wanted to hopefully be there that one, they felt like they could always come to talk to me. And we have our desk is an open plan in the gym so that if we're in meetings on laptops, and it's not always great for the best workflow, but members can always, the door's always open a little bit. And that has its pros and its cons, but I think there's more pros and cons. And I wanted to meet people that were going through, have a true understanding of how we could help them, make sure we were the right people for them, and then deliver that to the team, saying, "Oh, I've met so and so," and I love those conversations. Like I love people will come in and they're stuck in a rut, or they can't get out of their own head, and I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna do some damage here. You're gonna be sat here saying this is the best thing you ever did," and so I like that element of it. And I think from coming from the coaching floor, it made me have the ability to go into there and still help them. And so that sounds weird, but that gave me value. Like I wanted to do that, and since we've moved to this, I've loved that. So we looked at the process of it, because one of the big, when we were thinking about doing it, we had a conversation with Luke, and he was like, "Well, what about the no-shows?" And I was like, "Whoa, well, I'm not wasting my time with that." As in the time thing had got quite important. So he was like, "Put a deposit in place." And I was like, "Oh, I don't like that sound." And then I was like, "Well, let's give it a go. What's the worst that can happen?" And weirdly, right, I can sell like a £400 or £500 package I sold. Well, you know how much I sold in Black Friday, all that. But I struggle to sell a £30 deposit, which they get back if they come. So I was like, right, well, I'm not the guy for that. So one of the team, Sai, she now deals with all the leads that come in. She will call them, she will book out my diary. I deliver the consultation, and the percentage of sales has gone up. We're charging nearly £100 more for the 6-week program. And in my opinion, because we know them better, we're building like a proper relationship with them.
Yeah, so taking that £30 deposit before they actually come in just ensures that they actually show up. Because the worst thing about booking consultations is I had someone who booked a silly amount and they had like 1 or 2 people show up, and yeah, it's demoralizing, because sometimes when you're like, "Oh, do you want to book in?" They say, "Yeah," it's just a more British polite way to say no, and just never hear from them again, right?
True.
And the worst thing is having 10 consultations, 5 show up, you've got 5 hours that you don't really know what to do with yourself in those hours as well.
Yeah.
So when you get someone paying a deposit, you just know that they're going to show up. And I think you've had 1 no-show since doing it.
Yeah, and that's over 12 months.
Yeah, that's over 12-month period. You have 1 no-show in 12 months. So, and all the people that don't want to pay a deposit, they probably wouldn't show up, or those are all the people that weren't being serious or didn't want to put skin in the game. And does she still info gather to a good degree to obviously take payment and get a level of buy-in?
I actually make it to the opposite.
Interesting.
So I'm like, get off the phone as quick as you can. If they ask about price, Jake goes through that in the consultation. All right. Like I talked about earlier, reading Alex Hormoz's book, it was like, have a picture. Someone's pitching it, and we've also limited the slots. So when we're going, we've got 2 slots left this week. We literally only have 2 slots left. So it's kind of, we have, I think it's like 9 or 8 slots a week. That was what I was willing to give. And then Sai has 2. She does some as well. Or maybe a few more than that now. But initially, and it was like, right, well, let's put some urgency on it. If they want to be in, they're gonna be in. And someone asked me the other day, do you think you've lost people through that? Yes. Do you think? Do I think was the losses that we made, was it worth my time? Like I'd rather value my time, and by doing that, and that's really easy to say now. Like if you'd asked me that like 3 years ago, I would have like hit every single one. Where now, if you want a bit of longevity in this, and it's be a system that's going to work continuously, it needs to work for me. And so we've built a system that works for me, and I thoroughly enjoy meeting every person that comes in, and then knowing that, you know, we can put things in place to ensure that they get results.
And I think for you, it saves you time. You obviously sell at a higher price point, and it's probably, as you said, resulting to a higher front end conversion rate of clients coming through there. So it's the perfect system for you that works really, really nicely.
I just think it's like, it's building a relationship, isn't it? Like, I've been with you guys for a very long time, and I sometimes, although quite an outgoing character, can be quite shy. So the first, believe it or not, first couple of events, I was really scared to walk in to like the big FMA events, and then I'd leave and I was like, I loved it. You know, and same with like going into the boardroom environment, I was terrified of, like, I'd wait in the car as last minute as possible so that I didn't have to chat at the start to people or whatever. And so that's probably often how other people feel. So how can we make them feel so good that they're comfortable? And it's scary walking to gyms.
100%. Yeah.
And, you know, I'm very lucky. I've been going to gyms, like I said, come from a rugby background, and like I've been walking to gyms for a very, very long time. And I remember the first time I went into a CrossFit gym, I was like, oh, I think I could be good at this. I'm going to get to that. I was terrified. And so that's someone who's been in gyms their whole life. So how can you make that experience really, really positive? And know that, like we had to, we put an email out today, and it was about a member who joined us recently, and I was like, well, why did you join? And she said, within me being in the gym, 20 seconds, 3 of your team have walked up and said hello. Like that will make someone feel really comfortable in it. So yeah,
Makes them feel welcome initially.
Yeah, 100%. And because they are, like, it's not that like where it's like, have a nice day. It's like they genuinely care. So I got the right people.
I saw a testimonial quite high up on your Instagram group, and I was just doing a bit of kind of research, and it was someone that said they signed up through the Run Club.
Yes.
Yeah. So you so your Run Club is open to general public as well?
Yeah. I don't know if you saw it, but a lady, it was about a year ago, a lady got attacked whilst just out running, and she was just running down a canal in Birmingham, got attacked out of nothing, and the canal was right by our gym, like really close. And there was a lot of chat around groups and things like that people were uncomfortable to go out to run. And I think it really frustrated me, it really frustrated the team. And I was like, well, we've got this thing. We're going out. Let whoever wants to come, just come join. Like, so we put it as, well, I say Sarah did really well. She put it out to the groups, and we went down to the local, there's a really nice wine bar, like Fordor, very convenient, 4 doors down. And so we told them, and we put it out just to the local community, saying, look, if you want to come and run, especially like the winter, like, just come run with us. And this is, so anyone who got in touch with us, we just send them a booking link, and they just need to book in so we know who's coming. And so our Run Club, there's like, we get some big numbers some weeks, and which is wicked. But it means that we're doing something for the community, which is nice. And it wasn't really a drive. We didn't really think about the sales side of it, if I'm honest. It was just like, that was bad and we want to do something about it. And then on the back of that, we've had people join, and they're great. So
yeah, it's something that you didn't do it as intentional marketing or intentional sales, but it's one of those things that does get exposure and will actually end up, you know, when you put goodwill into the marketplace, you tend to get something back, right? And it's one of those things that is a nice thing to do, but it's also benefited from the business side as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I say it in the consultation, it's like, if this isn't the right fit for you, we've got something you can do for free. Like, at the time, then what? And like, so if we're getting people moving, or they're going out running when they wouldn't have done because it was dark, etc., then I think we're doing it.
It's quite good as well. If someone is a bit skeptical, maybe they don't want to sign up, they could actually just come meet the community with the Run Club as well. So there's like an exposure point to the community in a positive way, where they can actually meet everyone and see how friendly it is, and then from there potentially go on and
make a decision. We had a lady in a consultation recently. We run a yoga class on a Friday night, and again we offer Georgia, the lady who does it for us. She's ace, and she will offer out to non-members on her. Like, one of the things I said, look, if you want to bring in non-members, that's not a problem. And they come in under her, and the lady came in she said about the reviews. And she's like, I had physio, I came to the yoga here. That's why I knew it wasn't a scam. And so those little things, I think it was a service for our members. And we just thought, well, you know what, if there's someone who just wants to come in, it's no problem to us. So, yeah.
And what does the day in the life for you look like now? So beforehand, it was working every hour under the sun, PTing all the time, no time for yourself. But you mentioned 10 trips last year, which is impressive, and I'm very jealous. What is the day in the life for you like now?
Well, at the moment, training for an Ironman, it's on a bike most of the time. What does it look like? Each day's different depending on my main coaching days are a Tuesday, Thursday I do Saturday morning and Monday night, and then the rest of the time is like business and on the business and things like that. So I try to get myself into as many impactful conversations as possible. So whether that's a one-to-one with the team, whether that's in the team meetings, whether that's talking to members, I have a better relationship with all the members now than I did when we were half the size, because I have the ability to go and talk to them. And Jen's had a really cool thing. He said, be the Italian coffee shop owner. You know their name, you know the kid's name, you know where they went on holiday, but you're not necessarily making the coffee. And that seems to be working really, really well for me, where I've got, they come up to the desk and it's quite similar to this, but just a bit higher. And I have great conversations with people that walk in. One of the things in lockdown, we worked in a car park and members used to bring us coffee. So they'd bring us like a Costa or whatever, or the team would go and get me one. If one day I did 8 sessions back to back in this car park. And so like I'll make lots of teas and coffees. So you'll see on the gym floor in some of the videos, there'll be someone with a cup of tea. And that's a bit weird, but I loved it when people made that for me. So I made them a drink, have a chat and things like that. So very much in the people aspect of the business, which is quite tiring. So I do tend to, on some days I go in a lot later than I used to, like on a Wednesday morning. Like I don't get up till about 7 on a Wednesday, which is a bit unheard of for me. It's great because my wife gets up before, so she makes the tea. And I have like shorter days on like a Wednesday and a Friday, and which I never used to have before. It wouldn't be uncommon that I would leave the gym at 7 on a Friday night, and I would have been in at 6. And then the other days were even worse. And so I've got so much more time. I try and focus on the things that are important. It's so easy, I think, for me to hide behind the laptop. That's not my role in the business anymore. Like the team are doing those elements. As long as I know the numbers, my job's to upskill them and support the members and have good conversations around stuff like that.
And so it sounds like, focusing on the people in the business. So whether it's the members that are coming in, having conversations, engaging with them, whether it's the team, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just consistently engaging with those people. You also mentioned as long as you know the numbers. Is that something that you've always been good at or something you had to learn to get good at?
Definitely does.
What are the most important numbers that are indicating that you're doing a good job or things need to be improved?
I try and keep it as simple as possible. I think I said to you pre the podcast, I if there's too much, I get either overwhelmed or uninterested. So I need some key figures, and so we track obviously turnover, profit, and obviously cost, profit. Then we'll be like, how many leads are we getting per month? What is our lead to consult? What's our close at the consult? What's the percentage that at the 6 weeks they convert to memberships? What's our retention? What's our injury? And that's about it. I think there might be one or two more, but that's about it for me. In the respect that I feel like with that, I can make informed decisions to ensure that we're doing the right things. And then I think if you, like Lewis will be like, what's the cost per lead? Like, and I'm like, oh, I'm not really bothered about that. I'm like, how much money do we send there and how much money do we sell?
Yeah.
Like, and you talked about that at the last event, actually, what's your cost per lead? I'm more interested in cost per acquisition. But, we're on the way down the car and Lewis on his laptop going, £7. And I was like, yeah, that is amazing, to be fair. But and 11 leads in like 24 hours. So thank you guys. But I think, I look at the ones that I think we can impact the most. I think, as Jens would call, an emotional business owner before. Probably still a little bit of one now, but it's half my charm. But I definitely I've got a lot better at tracking those metrics.
Yeah, that's amazing. And interesting, you said like cost per acquisition is the thing that you are focusing on as your more of a North Star metric, right? Rather than the cost per lead, because that number could be high or low, but it really depends on how much it is you're spending for a customer and how much you get back, and then how much you get back in the long term. Yeah,
and I also think the longer you sort of work with Meta, and I think, been with you guys nearly 4 years, and you understand that things go up and down. And ultimately, if you said to me, you're going to spend, I don't know, £2 on marketing next month and you're going to get £2 back, I know that we've got an 84% conversion rate on the memberships. So it's still a win.
Yes.
It's not as beautiful a win as £7 a lead that we're getting at the moment, but it's still a win. And ultimately, looking at the long term of it's going to go high, it's going to go low. Now, one of the things, if it goes really low, like, you guys turn it off and tell us anyway. Like, you'll be like, right, we're on it. What I've always found is, if I'm making sales, I believe that, and we know what money we're putting in, then even if we just broke on how many 6 weeks we did, so how much money we spent marketing wise, we're going to grow on the membership end because we know we're at 84%. So I think, yeah.
And that's the beauty of having a great product, is that that you can confidently say that if we get X amount through, and even if we break even, which is ultimately, we want to profit, right, and make a bit of money back.
I can't remember the time we didn't profit.
Yeah, that's it. Right. So like, we're always profiting, but even if we broke even, that you're going to make thousands and thousands on the back end through the great delivery, right? But it's like, marketing and sales are great, but obviously if you didn't have that product in place, it wouldn't be nearly as good, right? So a lot of credit has to go down to the product that you've built around that as well.
And I think when we first started, I remember you guys saying, in December, if you're in the position to turn your ads off, turn them off and work on different things, like, so whether it's Media 365 or wherever it may be. I was like, who's in that position? Whatever. The last 2 years, we have turned them off.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because people, we actually like to get to a point where you run ads less frequently, because we don't want you running ads every single month of the year. We want you to be delivering value to the marketplace through content, working on your referrals, working on the leads you've already got. It's not like you, and the fact that you can have months where you don't market through Meta to get leads shows that you're in a position of strength as well.
But we're still getting, like, what I would say is we're still getting them, because, like, we're putting the educational pieces out, and we're putting the testimonials, the this, the that. So we're getting them. We're just getting them in a different way.
Yeah, and that's also the you're an A-star FMA student in terms of
definitely not.
Yeah, well, I mean in terms of everything that's being implemented, whether it's by you, because I know the laptop's not open for you,
Lewis,
but it's the fact that you're getting leads from multiple avenues rather than just one. Because people always come in and they think, it's just Meta ads, but it's like, you should be getting leads from 4 different sources simultaneously. So if you turn one off, you get them from the other, and that's when your business is in a point of stability, which is what you've achieved there, which is amazing. And I think you mentioned it as well. It's been nearly 4 years of us working together. So I think we'll go kind of wrap up here. But what I do want to say is that it's been a pleasure to play a role in helping you get to where you are today. Obviously, there's a lot of other work that you've done behind the scenes, and it's not just marketing. It's building the team and a great product, which is what you've done. So full credit to you. But it's been a great pleasure to play a small role in helping the business there as well. So thank you for being a part of FMA, and thank you for coming onto the podcast.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for your time, John.